called Ned, we called Cab Company, called Dr. Buford, tried Professor Hotchkiss.
Yes, hello?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. Is this Professor Hotchkiss?
I am she. Nancy Drew. Your name has a ring to it. Do I know you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we met a little while back in Wisconsin.
Oh, yes. You were the delightful young lady doling out the samples in the tasting room of that cheese factory. Yum, yum.
No, I met you at Whitford Castle.
That's ridiculous. There was no cheese tasting room at Wickford Castle.
No, we were both guests there. I found a journal written by Marie Antoinette which you translated. Remember?
Thanks to you, suddenly all I can think about is how wonderful a nice big slab of Colby cheese would taste right now. Listen, Mandy, I'm on a deadline, so if you could please just tell me why you called.
But my name isn't...
Deadline! Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Chop, chop.
Did a man from New Orleans named Bruno Bolet ever call you?
Ah, now there's a name you can remember. Bolet. Nice and French. I'm a scholar of French history, you know.
Yes, I know. So did Bruno Bolet call you?
Indeed he did. Oui, oui.
Why did he call, if you don't mind my asking?
Because he had read my book, of course. The Crystal Skull. Fact or fable, one of my best efforts. Sold like hotcakes, smothered in a rich, tangy lemon sauce.
Did he say anything about owning one of the skulls himself?
I would have hung up on him straight away if he had. I tell you, Brandy, if I had $1 for every crackpot who's called claiming to own one of those skulls, I'd be able to dine at the Russian tea room every evening for the rest of my life. All right, that's a bit of hyperbole, but you get the picture. No. If memory serves, we talked mostly about the skull called the Whisperer. He wanted to know if I had learned any more about it since my book was published, which I hadn't, or if I had any theory as to what happened to it, which I didn't.
And that was the extent of your conversation?
Well, now, let me think. My, such insatiable curiosity, Nellie. You remind me of someone I encountered on one of my journeys. But for the life of me, I cannot remember her name or the circumstances.
Nancy Drew? Wickford Castle?
Ah! The eyes have it.
I'm sorry?
That's what Bruno Bolet said when I turned the tables and asked him if he had any idea where the Whisperer was. He said, the eyes have it. Then he chuckled and hung up.
How much would a crystal skull like the Whisperer be worth?
In this crazy day and age, where the short hair and used tissues of celebrities get sold for thousands of dollars, there's absolutely no telling, Candy. $500,000 easily. Maybe even $1 million. Maybe 2. Maybe 10. The sky's the limit. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
If someone found a skull made of crystal, how could they be sure it's one of the crystal skulls?
Wonderful question, Francie. How indeed? Because there are sure to be thousands of fakes out there. Perhaps tens of thousands. But remember, the real skulls were made long before the tools commonly used for carving today were invented. Which means, let's put on our thinking caps.
Modern-day tools would have left marks if the skull was a fake?
Exactly so. Mind you, the marks on a good fake would be microscopic and thus imperceptible to the human eye. However, any thorough laboratory analysis would quickly unmask a counterfeit.
So the only way to prove that a skull is the real deal is by proving it's not a fake?
And by examining its provenance, its history of ownership. If it can be shown that a particular specimen has been passed along from antiquity into modern times and didn't just suddenly appear in, say, Germany in the mid-19th century, that would tend to support its authenticity as well.
The idea that the Whisperer can make its owner immortal, do you believe that?
I believe that things that defy any so-called rational explanation happen all the time, Nessie. Now, does that mean there are mysterious external forces at work in the universe of which we do not and cannot ever have full knowledge? Or does it all boil down to us? If the human heart desperately wants something to be true, does the human mind have the power to make it true? Who knows? Oh, questions, questions, questions. Oh, how dreary life would be without them.
In your book, you said that all the people who've ever owned the Whisperer were murdered, yet Bruno Bolet dropped dead of a heart attack.
Are you saying the Whisperer was in his possession after all? The scallywag! Why didn't he tell me that? Oh, that's right, I would have hung up on him. Well,
Oops.
if that's the case, then I strongly suggest you take a close look at his so-called heart attack, Sandy. Because if he owned the skull and he died, I guarantee you it was at the hands of someone else. Or my name's not Beatrice Gertrude Winifred Hotchkiss.
I better go. Thank you.
Rock and roll!
I kinda like that one. You know what? Based on what she said, let's ask Vampire Boy again. Where is he? Oh, there you are. Oh,
I'll let you get back to work.
Awesome.
What's this? Bridges to nowhere. Cat's eye. Eye candy. Oh, Bill Kessler. That's one of the name in the previous Nancy Drew characters. These are all related to an eye. I think we'll figure that out later. Right now, let's see. Nah. Ready to look at that. Let's look back. Nothing new. Cab company. Why are you calling cab company? I don't know. I'm just trying.
Due to current weather and road conditions, cab service to the greater New Orleans area has been temporarily suspended. We regret being unable to serve you at this time.
Okay. And what are we going to do? Call Bess again.
Hello?
Hi, Bess, it's me.
So what's been happening? Tell me everything.
Well, let's see. Since the last time we talked, I was just about...
Okay. I guess we're playing her again.
Interesting stuff.
But the reason I called is, I need you to talk to this doctor named Gilbert Buford, who, as it turns out, likes to hang out at a gumbo stand called Granny Pumpkin's Cajun Cookin', which should be right across from our hotel.
You just want me to talk to him? That's it? Nothing nefarious? No black ops stuff?
He was Bruno Bolet's doctor, and apparently his best friend, too. I just need for you to see if he thinks there was anything weird about the way Bruno died.
What do you mean by weird?
I mean, I kind of think maybe Bruno was murdered.
Murdered? By whom?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Everyone's a suspect at this point.
Including this Gilbert Buford guy?
Well,
Great, I'm gonna be chatting up Jack the Ripper.
oh, I'm sure the guy's fine, but be subtle, just in case.
Well, I can see the gumbo stand from our balcony. If he's the guy that's sitting down there, I guess he looks harmless. Okay, I'll go talk to him.
Thanks, Bess. Let me know what happens.
Cheerio.
Let's see what happened to Lamont for a while. Oh, he's fine already.
Sneeze lady, what's going on?
Sneeze lady.
That gumbo stand outside? What do you think? Is it pretty authentic?
Outstanding! Just watch the hot sauce. Whatever's in it gives my stomach instant fits.
Mm-hmm.
In all your
And
journeys
you're
through the wonderful
sneezing.
world of junk, have you ever come across one of those legendary crystal skulls?
What makes you ask that?
You have so many other oddities in here, I was just wondering.
No. I know the legend, of course, and I sure wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of those babies. I mean, I could sell it for a fortune. But no such luck. Funny. I've been thinking about those skulls lately. A lot.
Really?
Hey, maybe we got some kind of
really?
psychic thing going here. Quick, think of a number between 1 and 10 and I'll try to guess it. You thinking of a number? Okay, 4.
9.
Darn. Guess it was just a coincidence.
Guess so.
Maybe I'll have another look around in here.
You got a question, just holler.
Oh, so apparently he's done with his hit. I don't want to tap that hit sneezing fit. Finally get the nose spray. How do you get out of here? I don't want to tap that alien again.
Why, hello, young lady. How kind of you to grace an old man with your lovely presence.
My name's Bess Marvin. I'm looking for Dr. Gilbert Buford.
Well, it's a pleasure to report that I am he.
Your answering service said I'd probably find you here.
This here is my favorite spot in the whole city. Delicious gumbo, pleasing view, particularly now, I might add.
I'd like to ask you some questions about Bruno Bolet, if that's okay.
I'd prefer subject matter of a happier nature, but I do not want to seem inhospitable, so what is it you want to know?
Is it true that Dr. Bolet was your best friend?
Well, now, I was certainly his best friend, but I cannot honestly say that he was mine. Fact is, while socializing with my fellow man, particularly with pretty young women such as yourself, has always been a source of pleasure for me, Bruno was just the opposite. Unfortunately, the older he got, the more numerous his idiosyncrasies became, and the less concern about their negative effect upon others he became.
His idiosyncrasies didn't bother you?
Now, as a doctor of medicine, I am not only accustomed to dealing with the abnormal, but I find that I'm actually drawn to it. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed Bruno's outlandish personality. Although, at the same time, I fear it may have played a role in his demise. You see, he died of a myocardial infarction, most likely caused by age-related atherosclerosis. Dying of a heart attack is all too common for people who are socially isolated, and Bruno Bolet had most certainly become that.
Did they do an autopsy on Dr. Bolet?
No. Given Bruno's advanced age and the absence of any indication of foul play, an autopsy was deemed unnecessary, and the body was cremated according to Bruno's wishes.
Did Dr. Bolet ever say anything to you about owning a crystal skull?
Why, yes. Yes, he did. In fact, he showed it to me once. Said it had magical powers. Said owning it was going to allow him to live forever. I thought it was utter nonsense and told him so. Well, he didn't appreciate that at all. Refused to talk to me for a full 2 weeks.
What'd the skull look like?
It was quite beautiful, actually. Life-size, perfect in form and clarity, like a diamond almost. Tell me, Miss Bess, what do you know about that crystal skull?
This friend of mine, who is also a friend of Henry Bolet, you know, Dr. Bolet's great nephew, Anyway, while she was visiting Henry, she saw this book in Bruno's library about the legendary crystal skulls and was kind of intrigued and thought that since Henry said that you were pretty much Bruno's only friend, maybe Bruno had said something to you about it, and as it turns out, he had. That's all I know.
I see. Well, much as I'd like to believe that skull holds the key to immortality, I'm afraid Bruno's passing proves it's worthless. Although it would make an attractive paperweight, as I recall. Tell your friend not to give it another thought.
Where was Dr. Bolet when he had his MI?
In the foyer of his house, just inside the front door. In fact, I hadn't seen him for a while, so I picked that day to pay him a visit. I walked up to the front door, found it unlocked as usual, opened it, and there he was, lying on the floor in obvious distress. The next thing I know, his housekeeper came running in and started shrieking and carrying on, until finally I sent her out of the room so she could summon an ambulance, and I could once again hear myself think. Then well, let's see. Then I knelt down and saw that he wasn't breathing. So I pulled him away from the doorway so I'd have more room to work on him, and began chest compressions. I continued until the medics arrived, but nothing they did made a difference either.
Was Dr. Bolet unconscious the whole time?
Yes, he was.
Can you remember anything that might indicate what he was doing by the front door? I mean, had he just come in from a walk? Was he wearing a hat? Was he holding anything? Had he dropped something? An umbrella? Sunglasses?
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute. Why, yes, he was holding something. A piece of paper. And on the floor next to him was an envelope. He must have collapsed while reading a letter.
Do you know what happened to it?
Now, I know the letter was no longer in Bruno's hand when the paramedics arrived, so perhaps he released the letter when I moved him. And yet, I do not recall seeing it on the floor when they wheeled him out the door. Iggy.
What's icky?
Iggy. Iggy is an iguana Bruno befriended, then turned loose in his home. It soon developed the annoying habit of stealing paper and stockpiling it in the vent system.
Are you saying an iguana made off with the letter Bruno had been reading?
It would not have been the first time a missing document ended up in Iggy's possession. Renee would periodically call me saying the lizard had absconded with one of Bruno's prescriptions and would I please write her up a replacement. In any case, Bruno once told me he was training Iggy. Said he taught Iggy to retrieve the things it had stolen.
Do you think it's possible that Renee caused Dr. Bolet's death by, say, hoarding the pills from those missing prescriptions and giving them to him all at once?
No. Had he died of an overdose of the medications I had prescribed, the manner of his death would have been quite different. But he died of a heart attack. Of that I am certain. However, I know for a fact that Renee is deeply involved in the practice of voodoo. And as Bruno's housekeeper, she had ample opportunity to use it against my poor old friend.
You mean hoodoo really works?
Nope.
Young lady, never, ever underestimate the power of suggestion. If a person believes in something, even on a subconscious level, fantasy can easily become fact. And who knows what rubbish Renee filled Bruno's mind with? Drink this, don't eat that. This brings good luck, that brings bad, day in and day out. Even if he said he didn't believe a word of it, who knows how much his subconscious was absorbing? He was very old and vulnerable. So could Renee have caused Bruno to have that fatal heart attack? There's not a doubt in my mind she could indeed.
I'll let you get back to your gumbo.
I've enjoyed our conversation immensely.
Okay.
Another question?
I'll let you get back to your gumbo.
Feel free to drop by anytime.
I guess it's time to call Nancy back.
Hello? Hi, here's what's been happening at mine.
And that's pretty much it.
Good work. I'll take it from here. Thanks again.
Good luck. Bye.
So, we do have what we have in our inventory. Strange code. Look what's this? Charcoal, I guess. Let's go back to Vampire Boy. Oh, not there. Ask him about Bruno's.
Yes?
I'm afraid you're going to be stuck with me for a while.
Let me guess. Because of the big storm that's blowing in. Everyone in the city's freaking out and you can't get a cab.
Bingo.
Person at the bank told me. Just before she put me on hold for 2 hours. Oh, don't worry. We've got plenty of food here. Beds, candles. You're welcome to stay.
I'll let you get back to work.
Awesome.
You know what? Let's talk to Renee. See what she has to say for herself.
Hello again.
Did Dr. Bolet ever say anything to you about a crystal skull? He may have referred to it as the Whisperer.
No, he never so much as mentioned a crystal skull, whispering or otherwise.
Were you in the house when Dr. Bolet passed away?
I was indeed. I was in the library cleaning when all of a sudden I heard a big thump. I hurried out to investigate, and sure enough, there was Dr. Bolet lying by the front door. And as I rushed over to him, the door opened and in walked Gilbert Buford. He took one look at Dr. Bolet and hollered at me to call 911. So I ran back into the library and did just that. But when I came back out, Gilbert was leaning over Dr. Bolet, listening for breathing, I suppose. And then he started pushing up and down on his chest. But it was too late. Even I could tell that Dr. Bolet was gone.
How was it that Gilbert was able to just walk right in like that?
As you yourself discovered, people around here seldom lock their front doors during the day. But you know, in the back of my mind, I have always wondered about Gilbert Buford showing up at the door at that exact moment.
I understand that Dr. Bolet had some interesting pets, like an iguana.
That man never met a creature he didn't like. He'd train them to do all kinds of silly tricks, then let them run free, inside the house as well as out.
Do you know how he went about training them?
I surely do not. Don't get me wrong. I liked Dr. Bolet, I truly did. But I swear, sometimes his activities made as much sense to me as bathing in a bayou full of gators.
I'd better get going.
Fare thee well.
Oh, let's find that iguana, I guess. He was over by the bookcase, right? That darn bookcase.
Still have to do that.
Oh.
Did that. All done. All done.
I did
Did
that.
that. All done.
The head of the buzzard. Where the heck is that iguana?
Yes?
I'll let you get back to work.
Sounds good.
Sure has to do with that eye somewhere. What is I looking for? Okay, we'll have to go and search the cemetery, I guess.